Hey folks, man, this is Monk, and we are back with another Classes of Cinematics episode, and I'm joined as always with my co-host Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo.
Yeah, and today we're gonna go to the east a little bit, man. Today we're gonna be talking about The Killer, directed by John Woo, from 1990. That was the U.S. release date, and stars Chow Yun-Fat, Danny Lee, Sally Yee, Hugh Kong, and a bunch of other names that I'm probably going to mess up if I keep going. So the story is this, man. Mob assassin Jeffrey is no ordinary hired gun. He's the best in the business. He views his chosen profession as a calling rather than simply a job. So a beautiful nightclub singer, Jennie, is blinded in the crossfire of one of his most recent hits. And he chooses to retire after one last job, and he's going to take the money from that to pay to try to restore Jennie's vision, which she lost, to his hands. And in doing so, he gets double crossed in that final job. That leads to a chain of events that has him in the eyes of the policeman played by Danny Lee, as well as the mob who double crossed him, after his recent hit, man.
Mm-hmm.
And this film is amazing. It brought a lot to the table. It brought a lot of things that other films have lifted from, as well as inspired probably one of the greatest rap albums of all time, Only Built for Cuban Links by Raekwon the Chef and starring Ghostface Killer and Capadonna. And that album is interesting. It's hard to talk about this film without mentioning that, but that album is wrapped in this film, just in the snippets. They kind of serve as a theme that guide the album along, from the very beginning. Even at the very beginning, they're lifting the theme music from this film, in that album. But let's get back to this movie, man. What do you like about this thing off top?
First things first, the action. The gunplay in this film is immaculate. You know what I'm saying? Every time they start racking off, it's just, it's so visually appealing. These gunfights they're amazing, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way they're choreographed and the way it all transpires. Chow Yun-Fat is a G. You know what I'm saying? Just the way he does things, he's so smooth with it, and that to me that's probably what carries this film throughout. It's action packed, it's high octane. The story, is good, but I watched this film for those gunfights.
Yeah, that is something to really mention. The action is crazy. There's so many films that lifted from this movie, and it's old, but a lot of that stuff still stands up when you're looking at it. The slow motion shots, the almost ballet with guns that these guys are doing, and it's not just sitting behind something and firing. Like, these guys are leaping, they're sidestepping or sliding, they're anything to get upper hand on the enemy. But the way John Woo shot this thing, no one does it like him, man.
Right.
No one does action like him. So he's definitely put a stamp on this, which a lot of people are lifted. Like we don't get Matrix without this film happening, without this era of John Woo action films, man. Like all of that jumping and spinning and throwing bullets, like even Wanted, like so many films lift from this. To this day, man, we see them still using, those elements in, movie productions and TV stuff as well. But back to the acting too, man. Like, I think that carries a lot of heavy lifting because, like you said, The story is simple. And one of the things I think Chow Yun-Fat is probably one of the coolest looking people on camera ever. Like he makes it look effortless, man. Like, without even saying anything, man. Just sitting there, and the way he moves and the way he looks in the suit, it just looks like a dude that couldn't be bothered by anything, man. He's just in the moment, whatever he's working on. And when we see him, the first time we see him going into the nightclub scene to do that first hit that causes the Jennie to get blind, is crazy, man. You just the music's coming in, and he just looks like a guy that's just I'm gonna stop in here and listen to a little bit of music and have a couple drinks and roll out about my business. But then so effortlessly and smoothly goes into doing the business that he does so well, man. Like, it's crazy, man.
And another thing that I really like about his character is, like, they portray him as if he's just this heartless, cold-hearted criminal assassin guy, but we see he's way more layered than that. He does have a heartbeat, he does have a pulse, and he does care. I mean, in the first scene, you see, like, I mean, after all the stuff goes down in the club, he blinds this woman and then he takes her under his wing. He almost even falls in love with her. You know what I mean? And then as we go later on in the film, there's the beach scene where it's another great gunfight that goes on, you know, and a young girl gets caught in the crossfire, and then he actually makes it his mission to take her to the hospital, and he stays there risking everything just to make sure that she's okay before anything but that.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. Like it the way it plays out, man. Because like you said, there's that, you know, this guy is ruthless in the sense that he can do his job. Like, killing is nothing to him. But I think what elevates his character is that he, you know, like you say, takes on that responsibility for what happened to her. Because, you know, part of it is like, she doesn't get shot if he doesn't take this job on, take this assignment. And the interesting thing is, when the things is going down, like, he actually saves her. Like it's messed up that she lost her sight, but if he didn't intervene, she'd be dead. Right. You know, clearly she was walking around that corner into, you know, a double barrel, and he, you know, pulls her at the last minute. He gets shot in the meantime. But another thing that I like about these kind of films, man, this is one of my favorite genres within the genre. Just the whole hitman. I know it's kind of ridiculous and exaggerated for the films, but it also always, you know, makes me curious how they depict that world, and that kind of, like, even we see it in John Wick. You know, you see like the one scene where he's taking the last job, and the guy, like the clip that they use from Wu Gambino's on the Cuban Links, when he says Tony Link is the name, he works for an arms dealer in Central America. He's like, once I'm dead, he's like, no information. And he's like, 1.5 million. You know, that's my fee. And in this film, you know, the album version is cut a little short, but it goes on to say, you know, that's kind of high. And then he says, yeah, this is my last hatchet job, you know, meaning it's the last time I'm gonna do, you know, one of these things. So yeah, I want to go out with a nice payday. And, you know, Bex gives him what he wants, you know, and basically you realize he wants to use that extra money to try to, you know, help fix her eyes, you know, the eyesight that she took. But another really good aspect on the acting tip, dude, I do like the cop played by Danny Lee that's trying to capture him, because he just, all he knows is, you know, there's a guy that caused this chaos scene in the cantina, and it is interesting seeing his struggle, man. His police lieutenant is shitty, and in a way, I think he's probably in bed with the mob. It just adds an interesting dynamic to something that Chow Yun-Fat's character is playing off. And what I like too is they get to know each other as this thing plays out. You know, toward the end of this, they're buddies, man. Like,
And that's the thing that really makes this film stand out too, is because it covers all these bases. Like, depending on how you're viewing it, I mean, it could play as a crime drama, as an assassin film, as a romance. I mean, it's
so much all at once.
it's so layered, and it's done so well that it hits all of these key notes in with such a heavy, you know, a heavy drum that. That's why this film is so revered and so high up on this pedestal that it's held on, you know what I mean? And I mean, every time I watch it, I'm all the way entertained, you know what I mean? It's just, I can't find many flaws with it. I mean, there are a few, but they're easily overlooked.
Yeah. There's some nitpicky stuff, but I think that's more just with John Woo and his, you know, it's, you know, at least at this time in his career, I think there were some things that he wasn't so good at as other things. Like the action, of course, you know, he nails that tone, atmosphere, but some of the individual conversations, you know, but also I got a feeling too, because I do like this English dub because of my history with that album and the clips that they've lifted from them. But I also think that there's things that are lost in translation. You know, with us, you know, not knowing Cantonese, you know, so it's, but it's, the flaws to me are minimum, man. It's still something that I, you know, maybe once a year I put this thing on and sit back and just enjoy it, because it is a tragic story, man. It's crazy to me how this thing can have so much, like, it's I mean, on the surface, it's just an action film. You know, it's going to be a high body count, crazy shootouts. But like I said, man, those human elements elevate this thing way higher than it should be. You know,
right. And then, not for nothing, as far as the body counts and you know, when it does come to that action, one of my favorite scenes is when he takes out. I want to say his name is Mr. Wong. Man, when he's sitting on the boat. And and the dude is on like a floating platform. My man is sitting in a boat, so he's in the water. The target's in the water, and he has the wherewithal. He still snipes him, hits him in the head, and then before he falls, hits him 2 more times. Bang, bang. So 3 shots before the body falls, tags him every time. You know what I mean?
Like, so I like the setup of that because like. The first scene is the up close, all right, the dirty work, you know, boom, 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 we're face to face. But then you get the long range assassination attempt where, and I love that scene because he's there early. He's set up. Yeah. He's got the dude dead to right in the sights, but they're at like a ceremony as well. So the target is there, almost like a ribbon cutting ceremony kind of thing, but it's different. You know, he's painting these dragon's eyes or whatever. But dude, you notice he didn't fire. First thing he did was line him up. But I can see him. Then he sits down with the rifle, and then when they start hitting them drums, yo, immediately he's pow, pow, pow. Yeah. I'm like, yo, this is crazy, just to show how dialed in this dude is, man. Like,
how strategic, and then also like he's really good at his craft, man. Yeah, like, it shows like the dynamics of the assassin. Like he's not a one-trick pony in any way, shape, or form.
This is one of those films where I wish we would have got sequels, and maybe, I mean, it has a tragic ending, so you know, but I would have liked to have seen maybe a movie about him before this film, you know, maybe doing other jobs that got crazy and out of control. Cause like I said, man, he's so cool to watch in these moments, man. Like just really calculated, and like there's that part where they're talking about him, the detective, and it said, he seems something deadly without being ruthless. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I forgot what the exact quote. He looks determined without being ruthless. Looks determined without being ruthless, and it doesn't seem like a killer, man. You know what I'm saying? And like, and then that, so like those moments are just crazy because there is a humanity to this dude, man. But then at the same time, later on, when him and the cop are buddy, and they both got their backs against the wall, and the officer, he's a little hesitant, but my man Chow is like, yo, Jeffrey, he's about it. He's not, you could tell, like, he killing is nothing to him, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially if he's on the defense tip, and my man here is being questionable. He's like, man, get out the way. Bow, bow, bow. Yeah. Yo, what we gonna do here, man? We ain't getting out of here if we don't fight. And it's so crazy, man.
And the thing is also really you see that, you know, not only Jeffrey ain't scared to take a life, but he ain't scared to lose his either.
That's the crazy too, because see, this is the thing that I think elevates this the nobility, and I think it makes a film like this possible. Because I mean, essentially, we're looking at killers and hitmen, and without adding that morality to it, it's like it kind of gets questionable to like, what are we watching? You know what I'm saying? But because you made this guy have those noble traits, you know, and even a sense of honor, like you know, the scene after the little girl gets, and they know to go to the hospital because it's like, yo, he didn't have to grab that little girl. Like, why'd he grab her? He's definitely going to make sure she's okay. He takes her to the hospital, and so it's not like this guy's just a roving, you know, maniac like some killers in some films could be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, he's definitely, like, they exemplify the fact he's hitman for hire. He's doing his job. He's not doing this because he wants to.
Yeah, and all the targets are underworld targets, you know. So so it's almost like the Omar thing. I don't lay my hands on anyone that's not in the game, you know.
Yeah, right.
You know, I don't put my gun on anyone that's not in the game. So that, you know, it makes it a little bit better, even though he is, you know, killing for profession, but it's so great, man, how it all comes together, man. And but the thing too, man, the action does definitely bring a lot to this table, man. And it's, I can't even describe it. It's almost like a beautiful violence. Yes. Like, it's the way it's depicted, like that even sounds twisted in a way, but it's so beautifully shot, choreographed, like the settings, like the one that gets me, man, is that There's two. There's back-to-back ones, like toward the end. But the first one is when, him and I forgot the cop's name in the movie, but they calling each other Mickey Mouse and Dumbo in this American version. And Dumbo and him have, reconciled. At this point, Dumbo's left the police. He's quit. He's fired.
He went rogue.
Yeah, he went rogue. like the boss tell him to lay off. You're not on this case no more. And he's like, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna bring him in. I'm gonna get him. I didn't bring him in. I'm gonna go kill this guy. And then they decide to team up. But at the same time, dude, when those dudes in the white, it's funny because they all dressed up like painters. Like they got these suits on.
Yeah. 70 people all got white jumpsuits on.
And when they hit this house and the violence starts happening, it's amazing, man. Because Chow is just ice cold nerves, man. He knows exactly what to do every time. And what I do like about it is they're not getting through this without taking damage. Like he immediately gets shot in the arm. You know what I'm saying? And it's things like they feel vulnerable. Even though they're doing these amazing things. But it's when it gets going in those moments, man. Like it's like. I've seen other people write about this film and they call this like a ballet of bullets, and that's what's going on. Like the later scene when they're in the house and he's got on the all white and he gets shot in the arm and they start rushing the house and he jumps on the ground to avoid getting shot. So the guy starts spraying the ground and he's rolling around and twisting to avoid the bullets and still pops back up and like
not only would I like to see, maybe a sequel to this, but maybe even a prequel. Like show us his character being trained. Like how did he get this deep into it? How did he learn how to do all these things? Who taught him?
Yeah.
I would love to see that. I would love to see like who was his mentor, because that was probably a bad dude too.
So the crazy thing is, that would be so interesting. But also, I think when these movies are done well, they leave you chomping at the bit like that.
Yeah.
Like me, like earlier when I said I want to see what you happened before, but the training and all that, I just want to see more of this world, man. Like, because the other character that I really love on here is his boy, man. The guy who gets him the jobs, man. And without them telling us as much, it seems like that guy was in the game too, until his hand got so messed up that he couldn't be reliable to do the jobs, man. But even then, that seems like he's holding back, man. I feel like because we see him actually use that hand later on it's probably not as effective as Child's hand would be, but it also feels like he's playing lamer than he really is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just so people can, lose their guard around him and maybe you can get more information that way. But he comes across as a guy that was also in the game, man. That probably was doing jobs with Chow Yun-Fat, Jeffrey, at one time.
But he's shaky though, because that's testament to Jeffrey's loyalties to his friend. Because this same guy, even though he was getting him the job, then also tried to double cross him, set him up, and tried to shoot him with the gun that Chow Yun-Fat just had the wherewithal to take the bullets out of. You know what I mean?
But that was so cool to me because the friend knew he messed up, man. He just didn't think it would get back to him, and he didn't think it would be the kind of mess up that it ended up being. Because you see that scene happen where Chow Yun-Fat's pretty much like, I don't want to ever see you again. And that friend still throws his life on the line at the last minute to try to make things right, like to, because basically the mob that last hit that he pulls off, the guy that ordered the hit is so paranoid that it's going to get back to him. He orders everyone killed, even Jeffrey, not knowing that Jeffrey is the cold savage hitman that he is.
Right.
Because even my man says it. He's like, "Yo, why pay him his money? What are you doing?" Like,
yeah.
And so it comes back around. We found the double cross and all that, but then Jeffrey's boy, his last act is trying to get his money, and he does. He gets the money, but he gives his life around. So I mean, in this crazy movie, you got romance, you got action, you got and loyalty. Loyalty is a big theme in here, man. Like that thing really, and honor, as well. Even though there's times when people's honor is tested, but I think that's also dope too. That his man broke the honor code, but that wasn't the end all be all. And I think that's dope, saying that like, well, you can still fix it. There's never too late to reconcile and try to, make things better. You know what I'm saying? You might not be friends again, but you could at least, do what you can to, resolve it. It's up to the friend if they're going to take you back or not. But I appreciate that. Him going out and the way he went out, dude, like he had a little scene and he had a crazy burst of violence. Like I said, I feel like this dude was probably just as ill as Jeffrey before his hand got jacked up, bro. Like that's the feeling I get from that.
Yeah.
it was great, man.
Yeah,
it was great. Man. Yeah. So I mean, other than that, man, all I can say is the connection to the Cuban Links album is real special to me because like, and I didn't know it at first. Like when on the very first Wu-Tang album, the skit, where my killer tape at, yo? How you ain't got my shit and I let you hold it. And that was the film that he was talking about then. That album came out 93. This film comes out, hits the US in 90. So this was that film that they were talking about. And then later on, the fact that they would take that whole film and guide it. Like my favorite song is that of all time is probably the Incarcerated Scarfaces, man.
Yep.
And that's probably my favorite part from that. Like when he's doing the intro to that thing, man, and it's just like, and it's straight up. I sang for him. Well, actually, that's another song. But yeah, you can hear the music, dude.
Something wrong, kids, man. There's a courage about it. Doesn't look like a killer. Comes across so calm. Acts like he has a dream. Full of passion. You don't trust me, huh? You know why? I do. We're not supposed to trust anyone in our profession anyway.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
So even that, like we're not supposed to trust anyone in our profession, man. Like it's crazy, dude. Like it implies so much without even giving us much. Like we're not seeing these things that they're implying, but oh man, it's crazy, dude.
Yeah, and then it's not for nothing. I love the Purple Tape too. I love it. It's one of the best hip hop albums ever to come out. And when I was watching this film before we did this show, every time I heard the song that they were playing, I was waiting for the beat to drop. Like, y'all, come on, give me that. So it's just so cool that this film was just so heavily influential in other aspects. You know what I mean?
And that was where that because they splice a couple things together right there. Because that we're not supposed to trust anyone. That comes off of like he gives him the guns for the job, and he's like, "Aren't you going to check him?" He's like, "I trust you." And then the friend says him. I think the friend might have been trying to get him help a little bit, but I don't think the friend knew that they were not going to pay him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
At first. So, and he says, we're not supposed to trust anyone in our profession. Kind of maybe just reminding him of the rules that we are dealing with, man. Because like I said, man, even the friend was just like kind of devastated that he didn't. They were going to stiff him on the money and try to kill him, but at the same time, it was like, well, they're going to kill me if I, put him on the game. So I think that's why he initially, went along with it. But man, it's just a cutthroat game, dude. It's serious, man. And I'll definitely love to explore more of it. There were talks of John Woo was actually on to produce a remake of The Killer. And I think it was supposed to star Lupita Nyong'o, but the last thing I just read here is that she backed out of it. But interestingly enough, I think there's going to be another John Woo property that gets something made out of it. Face Off. There's talks to make another Face Off film, and I guess he made some comments about the superhero stuff. So yeah, but apparently they got to reshuffle, maybe get a new star attached or whatever. But like I said, I do want to see more of his world, man. It's just a fascinating chunk of slice of life that he made, and most of his films don't get sequels. They did do a sequel to Better Tomorrow, which has some a little bit of gun action, but it's not as crazy action heavy as this is. It's more of a dramatic mob film, and it's just as good. I think Chow Yun-Fat has a smaller role in that, but they did make a Better Tomorrow Part 2 where Chow Yun-Fat's character is the star, and it's crazy because he comes back to play his twin brother. Spoiler. I mean, he dies in the original, but it's like it's it's like the hokiest thing that I'm surprised we don't see more of in Hollywood, man. But that movie is kind of terrible, except it has one of the most ridiculous like gun battles ever. Like the stuff that they did in The Killer, it was off the hinges, man. I don't even know if John Woo did that one, dude. I think that was made by someone else, man. Let me see, maybe Sweetheart. Because there was a bunch of these Hong Kong directors at that time, and they all did classic work, man. Right. That early '90s was the Renaissance. I'm talking these shoot 'em up films, but then we were getting things like Iron Monkey. That series had started off just crazy, ill, like Hong Kong cinema, dude. Like it's crazy, man. But let me check out Better Tomorrow 2 director. Yeah, actually, he did direct it. Wow, maybe that's why that shootout looks like that. But dude, it feels cash grabby, man. It's definitely not one of the highest regarded ones, but the action scene in that gets crazy, man.
And another thing that I did love about this movie is like the way things came full circle at the end. Like, the whole time when Jeffrey was trying to help out, Jennie, who was blinded by, his own hand, and at the end, he gets blinded and stuff, and it shows them like both blind, calling for each other, and they just crawl by each other. I mean, they're literally an inch apart, and they stop calling for each other while they're crawling by each other.
So far away.
So close yet so far.
It does play a little heavy-handed to me, but I still enjoy it, man, because it is a crazy metaphor. Now they're both blind. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's wild, dude. But yeah, I don't know. All I could do is highly recommend this film, man. Track it down. The interesting thing about it is this one and Hard Boiled, which I think we'll probably get to one day.
Yeah.
They're both not available on digital streaming services. I think they both do have. At least I know Hard Boiled does have a Blu-ray release. And it's DVD copies out there. And The Killer is also on DVD. You can get it out there.
Which, this comes to the point where having physical media isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes, you need to clear that space on your shelf, put a couple DVDs there, because you can't get everything on streams.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is too, I knew I had a copy of it, but I forgot. Then I thought I didn't, but then before Bob came over, I found this thing sitting on my shelf, my copy of The Killer and my hardboard. I got to get Better Tomorrow as well, and there's some other John Woo action stuff from his early career that I do want to see as well. A couple of things that aren't so well known, but I'm gonna probably track them down. Y'all should probably track this film down, man. Just order it, man. There's some cheap enough copies online right now, man. I'm not gonna bust you in the head.
eBay, Amazon, you might have to do a little bit of legwork, but it's well worth it, man. This is a must see, must watch.
And there's so many things that bit off of this. Like I said, the Matrix film, any films with shootouts now. If you watch the Boondocks, they actually had an episode where Huey and what's the other one? Other characters, Huey and Riley, yeah. Huey and Riley, and they were having a shootout with BB guns in the crib, and it's straight up John Woo, The Killer style, man. Like it's definitely from that movie, man. But I think that's it, folks, man. We're gonna wrap this up, man, and we're gonna catch you next time soon, man. This has been another classic of cinematics, man. Make sure you support us, man. Follow us on what are we on right now? I don't think we got any
everything.
Well, follow the YouTube channel for sure, because that's the only way you can listen to or watch classical cinematics. I don't know. I don't really think we need to go heavy with the social media, but I will mention that I'm going to put the link in the video if you want to buy Classics of Cinematic shirts, because those have been added to the merch store. If you want to buy a shirt or hoodie to help support us, man, and it's hard. The joints looks dope. But also, we got more stuff coming for you folks, man. We're going to be back soon. This has been Monk. You can catch me at Monkey Blood on Twitter and Instagram.
It's Bobby Blockbuster. You can catch me on Instagram, Bobby Blockbuster 118.
Yeah. All right, folks, we out. Peace.